At last, a Republican official is actually admitting the truth, at least about the Trump-backed recount or audit effort happening in Arizona. So now it turns out that one of them, according to an interview in the New York Times, this is Arizona State Senator Paul Boyer, says that this entire thing, this audit, is actually is kind of an embarrassing disaster. In fact, this he's saying that he never should have supported this effort that has been, of course, run by conspiracy theorists and utter nut jobs. In fact, he told the Times, quote, "It makes us look like idiots." Well, now who's us? Well, Republicans. Any supposed sane Republican that goes along with this, yes, you look like an idiot. And you probably are. In fact, he says, looking back, I didn't think it would be this ridiculous. It's embarrassing to be a state senator at this point. Well, yeah. I mean, look, I would be embarrassed to be even at all affiliated with the Republican Party at this point. Any conservative who, doesn't believe in conspiracy theories, who, believes in factual information as much as you can for believing in conservative ideas. Basically, if you're somebody who's like, yeah, I like lower taxes and less regulation because I get to save money and I get to, basically exploit my workers, well, then you shouldn't be involved in the Republican Party. You should probably be an independent at this point. Because the Republican Party, yes, it is the party of still funding all money to rich people and corporations, but also it has turned into a reactionary party that filled with conspiracy elements. And that's it. The conspiracy part of the party has taken over at this point. And so again, this is who you are. You built that. Not this guy specifically, of course, but you have right-wing media, you have Fox News, you have the late Rush Limbaugh, you have Newsmax, right-wing YouTubers, any politician that's pushed a voter fraud lie long before Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not the cause of this. He's a mirror put up basically in front of the Republican voter base that has been radicalized by just completely non-factual media. People who consume a steady diet of just nonsense, garbage. All Donald Trump did was basically mainstream and unmask the reality of what they believed for decades. It's like lifting a log and seeing all the bugs come out. It's not like the bugs just appeared out of nowhere. No, they were there. They were there. They were always there. Now they're just in plain view. And now, well, it's kind of gross. So you got this guy going, ooh, I don't like that at all. Ooh. You got former Republicans like Joe Scarborough that are also like, no, I'm not interested in that. Ooh, I just want tax cuts and deregulation. So, no, here's the thing. I actually don't have an issue with recounts or audits or anything that in elections in places that have had close, contentious elections. I think democracy needs to play a part, okay, play its role. However, at this point, 7 months, numerous recounts, audits in different places, court cases that have been thrown out because of no evidence of widespread voter fraud, I think it's time to kind of pack it in. It's been settled already. Donald Trump lost. He can still run again in 2024. So get over it. And so, but the point is, though, it's incredibly sad. And it's also kind of dangerous because it feels far-right fascists who want an excuse to go in and basically take power. It's sad, but also kind of funny. You think about it. This guy, to be fair to this guy, maybe I'm being too fair to Boyer. I think that he probably thought, nah, what are you talking about? We're just doing an audit. We're just doing some verification. It's fine. I like accountability. My constituents want an audit. Well, we'll get this done. We'll put this to bed. See if we can find any irregularities, right? Why not? Well, this is why. Turns out one of the people that doing this audit is a former conspiracy theorist. I'm sorry, not former conspiracy theorist. He is a current conspiracy theorist, but former state lawmaker Anthony Kern, who also was actually there during the Capitol riot. at the State House, at the Capitol building. He also talks about bamboo ballots, which they claim would be evidence of Chinese tampering in the 2020 election. Notice how China has become the right-wing Russiagate, essentially. Now it's Chinagate. And so that's what we have going on here. Now, the guy who came up with this little gem is a man named Hovan Pulitzer, who says China ballots will show up if you do forensics because, quote, they use bamboo in their paper and about 27 different mixes of grasses that we don't have here. And even though you can't look at it and see it, it's very detectable. Now, so the bamboo ballots, okay, first there was the UV lights with the watermarks. What happened with that? Did they find any non-watermarked ballots? And the thing about that is that they were allegedly looking for ballots that were not watermarked with a Trump watermark, but there were no actual, that's not a thing. They don't actually watermark those ballots with Trump. And so they can go and claim with that conspiracy that, well, since none of the ballots had the Trump watermark, they must all be fraudulent. We just throw them out. But apparently they ignored that and they went straight to bamboo. And now they're going on to other things, other abnormalities. Apparently the dead voters now. Apparently Cyber Ninjas, which is the firm that has been retained to do this audit. Apparently they wanted to canvass voters' homes in areas of Maricopa County where they had anomalies. Basically, Democratic voters. The canvass is tied to another set of conspiracies. There were large numbers of dead voters that early ballots were sent to addresses where there were no voters. Well, then the ballots wouldn't come back if there weren't actually any voters there. If they had, it'd be pretty easy for you to see that there were some issues there. Okay. But here's what's funny. So they allege swarms of dead voters, right? And yet the ones that seem to be getting caught doing the actual, voter fraud, the voter impersonation, happens to be a lot of Republicans. One example is Bruce Bartman, 70-year-old. He recently, not recently, but in 2018, he actually had registered his deceased mother and mother-in-law to vote as Republicans. He also requested and returned an absentee ballot in 2020 on behalf of his late mother. He, of course, and his apparently dead mother, voted for Donald Trump. Bartman confessed to casting a ballot on behalf of his mother in the 2020 election. The district attorney's office said in a statement and explained that he had cast a vote in the name of his deceased mother to re-elect President Donald Trump. But here's the thing. Even those few cases, and the fact that these make so much news, is because of how rare these stories actually are. There are actually very, very few stories of people doing in-person voter fraud. And usually when that happens, most of the time, it's for Trump supporters. People voting twice for Trump or registering their dead relatives to vote for Trump. So, come on. It's projection. It's projection. So, nonetheless, Cyber Ninja, here's what they tried to do. They wanted to be able to get all the personal information of certain voters, Democratic voters in Maricopa County, to go and harass them, knock on their doors, and say, oh, you voted for Biden. Are you sure you're not a dead voter? Are you illegal? So now I find that kind of disturbing when you give out that information to a private company in a place where, again, you've had election officials that have gotten death threats from conservatives. There's a big, big spotlight on Arizona right now. And you want the government to give you all these people's personal information. It's what is it? Voting history, addresses, phone numbers, social security numbers to this private company headed up by a conspiracy theorist. Are you kidding me? No. That is not a safe place for that information. Thankfully, that was absolutely denied. Now, another thing that was denied was access to government internet routers and passwords for Maricopa County. In fact, the sheriff there blasted this as, quote, mind-numbingly reckless and irresponsible, and said that it was a threat to law enforcement. Insane. So, you could see why this is just absolutely embarrassing. And it's not just Boyer that's embarrassed as well. In fact, you have former GOP Secretary of State Betsy Bayless talking to the Arizona Republic. Here's what she said, quote, I just want it over. I think Arizona needs to move on and not be the center of more of this political gossip. Well, obviously, she must be a rhino and working for the deep state. Of course. Senator John Kyle, or I should say former Senator John Kyle, says, it is always the case that when there are serious controversies within the political party, it doesn't do the party any good. And I think the divisions within the Republican Party will not reflect well on the party's chances of success in the next election. That's pretty obvious. Referencing, of course, to the embrace of insane conspiracy theories. And then there's this flat out ignoring it. Former Trump surrogate Governor Jan Brewer avoided any discussion of the audit, as did former GOP Secretary of State Michelle Reagan. Now, honestly, if there was something that they wanted to tout, it's like, oh yeah, no, we're going to find all this voter fraud, and it's going to be huge, and it's going to it's going to invalidate the results of these elections in Maricopa County. Don't you think they would have broadcast that? Don't you think they would have talked about that? No, not at all. No. And here's Governor Doug Ducey. Quote, let this be completed, and then we can talk about what the findings are. And he added that he is, quote, focused on my day job. Don't quit your day job, buddy. Oh, wait, actually, you know what? Dude, please do. Quit your day job. You're useless. Look, if you're a Republican and you're not talking about how stupid this is, you're not helping. If you're a Republican politician, I should say, okay? And in reality, you're actually doing a lot to destroy your own party. And I'm saying this is somebody who's actually fine with the Republicans self-destructing. I don't think the Republican Party needs to be strong. I disagree with Nancy Pelosi and when she says, I think we need a strong Republican Party. No, I don't. But the thing that I don't want is the few Republicans that are not conspiracy mongers, people like, for example, I can't think of her name now, Liz Cheney. I don't want Liz Cheney here. I don't want Liz Cheney being held up as like, oh, this is a good Republican. Maybe she should come and join us in the Democrat side. No. I don't want any of you ghouls coming over and dragging the Democratic Party to the right, which unfortunately they have already done for a long time, since at least the 1990s with Bill Clinton and the DLC. You've been doing that since the 90s up until about 2016. Let's not do that. Let's not go in that direction, okay? No, the least you can do right now as a Republican is not give any more oxygen to bullshit conspiracy theories and to push back. Because not only do you look like clowns, but in reality, you're enabling some of the most dangerous elements of your own movement and endangering the country. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.